Hello, greetings, welcome, bienvenidos, one and all, to the Trial and Error podcast, also known as The Tap for short. Kind of rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Allow me to introduce myself. I am Aaron Gertz, the host and Aaron of the Trial and Error podcast. See, putting it all together. It's great. I also have perhaps the world's stupidest and most ridiculous nickname, and that is Sandwich. And if you listen to a lot of past episodes of The Tap, you'll hear a lot of guests refer to me as that, as Sandwich. So I've come to dub the followers of the Trial and Error podcast as Sliders, because, you know, they're tiny sandwiches. It's cute, it's adorable, it's funny, just like me. Oh my god. And yes, I just wanted to welcome all the newcomers and have an episode that explains what the tap is and the zaniness that you're in for, because I assume if you're here, maybe you've taken a risk and indulged in a new podcast or something other than the media you regularly consume, because you saw my big sexy float at the Winners Youth Day Parade. Huzzah! Yes, that episode is currently being edited and worked on. I will be having Greg Contreras, a long-time listener, and I've been promising that guy, oh yeah, I'll get you on, but it's just a bunch of words. Finally, I'm following through. Got Greg on the tap, and that one is, I foresee it being good, because at this point in time, I am recording this prior to the parade, but once you guys hear this, it'll be after the parade, so just gotta get the timelines working. The Tap, my goodness, it is mostly rated R, not really geared towards children, even though I am a man-child and have silly, ridiculous, lowbrow conversations. Not so much for kids or my mom and dad or grandma. Sometimes they say things or get on topics that are wacky and ridiculous. So here is a friendly disclaimer as I drink my monkey shoulder Scotch whiskey.
Real bad man.
Ooh wee, delicious. Could not recommend it more. Yes, the Trial and Error podcast. What the hell is it? Well, it is a creative outlet for me. It is scratching a creative itch that I always have, and I always like to be trying new things. It's the name of it, Trial and Error, or Trial and Aaron, but it's a play on trial and error, because at least a trial means you attempted something, regardless of if it's a failure or a success. You tried, and you did not talk yourself out of it, or just, oh, if I don't try, I won't have to worry about failure. No, that's where the error comes in, because that's the lesson learned to trying something new. And I am a human being made of errors, so I just figured Trial and Error. Tap rolls off the tongue. It's fabulous, it's fantastic, and most of all, this podcast has been a great excuse to just get together with some friends, family, whoever, have some drinks, or do it sober. My god, is it possible to have fun sober these days? Who knows? And just talk for an hour plus about this, that. Usually I have, I call them off-the-cuff questions at the end of the podcast, regardless of what we're talking about, what the theme is. All episode long, the off-the-cuff are just 10 completely random, ridiculous questions that just goes to the depths of thought, of just lowbrow humor, just whatever. It's just fun. I'm just trying to have fun here. I'm trying to keep good vibes going. There's plenty of bullshit news out there. There's plenty of lying, scheming, hate, anger, what have you. I would like the tap to be a reprieve, a source of good vibes you inject through your ears and into your soul, and hopefully that will just get you feeling good, get your vibes on a more positive note, and then you spread that shit. Here we go. Spread the good vibes, spread it like a disease. Tell people about the tap, bring them in. I'm not making any money off this. I just want people to be in a better mood.
Wow.
And it's been a really fun ride for the past 2 years that I've been doing it, 2 years and change, and I talk about movies, food. I have tap tournaments. I'll make little brackets, and so far I've done cereal, wait, not cereal yet, fast food, chips, championships, and just a bunch of. I like talking about things that almost everybody can have an opinion on, whether it's if someone likes blue cheese or not. This is not a blue. This is a big ranch organization here. The Tap. I look down my nose at blue cheese. I despise it. It disgusts me. It's just blue cheese. Just saying it makes me so salty. And yes, so I know this might sound like a contradiction. Oh, it's good vibes, but you're being a salty little bitch, Aaron. Well, sure, why not? It's my show. I'll get salty. I'll get worked up, wound up. But I believe I have enough self-awareness to make clear that what I'm bitching about is all in joking and good humor, good fun. So, wow, what a disclaimer. Hopefully you guys are still listening. I did take some notes about stuff to talk about. Let's see. Welcome to the Tap. Yes. Did the Youth Day Parade with Greg. It's going to be a good time. Intro. Let's see here. Yep. I guess I should say that born and raised in winters, I'd like the Tap to have a very winter-centric theme, if not all of like Yolo County. Just stuff that locals can really identify with. Born in 1990, born and raised in good old Winters, California. Went to high school, graduated in the class of 2009. Odd years, let's go. And just went to Sonoma State, got chewed up by the real world, and then got spit out. And, guess what? Back in Winters, there's worse places to be. I feel like Winters is almost, I don't want to say isolated, but it seems to be a protective bubble around this town that shields it from all the bullshit that's really plaguing the rest of the world. Yes, it seeps in. There's a lot of cultural issues, and whatever's going on in the world does affect the town. But by and large, it feels like people get along here better than most. People aren't hating each other ravenously. I mean, God help you if you go on the Winters Community Tips and Tricks page or whatever. Shout out to Cousin Chad, who's the, I guess, an orchestrator or manager of one of those pages. There's just so much whining and complaining. It's just funny to look at sometimes and just be like, wow, what is, Karen upset about today? There's plenty of Karens in Winters. But I'd say Winters, great place to be. There's great families here, great community, and I'm happy to be a part of it. And hopefully, with more viewers and more people reaching out with suggestions, but I'm always open to suggestions how to make this show better or different things we can do. In the past I've done, it was Tap FM, or I did a little rap. I made the podcast as if it was an FM radio show, made silly little commercials, called some friends and family, just had the little phone call conversation recorded on the microphone, and just always down to do new things. I call vigorous movie recaps, where I just off the top of my head will recall, say, Dumb and Dumber or Lord of the Rings or Gladiator or The Mummy, just movies that I know like the back of my hand, and just retell them through my point of view. And it's my movie. Yes, I am kissing my own ass with this, but when it comes to movie knowledge, movie trivia and whatnot, I have kind of Rain Man-esque savant level knowledge of movies and recall, and I wish that knowledge, that power could be if it was put to something useful, maybe I could be a doctor, at least a nurse, or something to that effect, something useful. But no, my powers only really stick to 90s cartoons and movies and certain other little things, but mostly movies. I'd peg myself as a movie buff. Oh, God, baby. The arrogance that you hear, I love being playfully arrogant, exuding this just look down my nose, better than everybody else kind of persona at times, but it's all sarcasm. It's all for fun. Hopefully you're able to pick that up. If not, move along now, move along. Hopefully you just know I'm joking. But anyways, I digress quite a bit, but that's such is life, filled with digressions. What is the Tap about? What else have I written down here? Wanted a radio show, went to ad school. Oh boy, yeah. I had this whole thing written down of what to say, but I'm just kind of going off the cuff, freeballing it. Like I said before, not really meant for kiddos. This Trial and Error podcast, this podcast, but everybody I have on. Or most curses I like to bleep out, put a little background music. Of course, there's gonna be plenty of sound effects because I grew up in the 90s and listening to, say, FM radio on the way to elementary schools. Who doesn't love sound effects from the radio? So everybody that comes on has an expertise that they are so much more well informed about than I am, and skill sets, stories, what have you. Everybody has a story. Everybody has something that they're a savant about or with, and I want to talk about it, want to learn about it. I've had plenty of people on. I've had my boy Austin Calvert when he used to work for in the wine industry, talking about the nuances of tasting wine, how to address it, swirl the glass. I have had my friend Maddie Kent on, who does dressage and talk about just horses and just the nuances in that industry. Of course, my boy Dylan Nay, he's a wildlands firefighter, just the crazy stories that he's had fighting fires, being literally behind the lines of fire, and just what he's experienced. I've had Skylar, my brother Skylar Gertz, my mom Debbie Gertz, Papa Ben has been on. Brantley, we've talked about Lord of the Rings. It's a big nerd out session on a variety of topics. I realize I'm just kind of jumping all around, but just want to just give you a taste, a sample, a Costco sample size of what you're in store for. So yeah, this is a Costco sample of Tap episodes, so you can reach in the freezer and buy a big old box of Tap. It's ready for you. There's plenty of episodes out already. Sometimes the audio is great. Sometimes I poo-poo all over myself, but I'm trying to get better every single time. And here's a foreshadow. I'm going to be getting a new laptop soon because it's time to get serious. I guess my laptop from 2016 just isn't packing the punch it used to. I'm just running low on space, to be completely honest with you. It's infuriating. I'm working with around 17 gigs. So when I'm done with an episode of The Tap, they're usually an hour long. That takes up space. And then I record on my phone, as you see here, and I send that to my computer, and that takes up gigabytes. And so by the time it's all said and done with the audio and the video and then the final product, there's hardly any space left on my computer. So I'm constantly trying to delete things, making room, and just get something that's pride worthy to put out to all the sliders to consume. So a new laptop on the way. Oh boy, whatever. Let's see, everybody has a story, blah blah blah. Blah, 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 blah. Well, welcome to The Tap, ladies and gentlemen. What can I say? It's been super fun having a lot of different people that I know, and honestly, I feel like that is a comfort zone. So here's a little foreshadowing, other than the laptop to come. The grand scheme, the grand plan I have for the Trial and Error podcast is to make it very winter centric, and then by extension Yolo County centric. And that means there's so many businesses in town, so many amazing and distinguished individuals. And so to say these business owners, I want to go to every business, whether it's Abbey House, Hoobie's Brewing, Patio 29, Barricade Gap, just all these different businesses, and do a podcast with them, how they got started. What was the biggest challenge? What inspired them? What drives them? And a lot of this idea was inspired by my time writing for the Winners Express, and just these business owners, when I talk to them, it's just so entertaining, so fun. And then in the back of my mind, when we're doing the article interview, I'm like, this is a podcast episode just ready to roll. Because I would record using my recording device and have a phone call, and just these are episodes. So that's my ambition for The Tap, is to talk to these business owners, or maybe there's high school athletes who are college bound to play collegiate sports. That'd be cool. Just there's so many people with so many great stories, and I just want to talk to them. I'm naturally curious. The questions come off the top of my head, and just hopefully I'm able to dig deep and ask the questions that listeners want to hear, and just really get into the crux of like what makes these people tick and why they do their things. And hopefully what they have to say inspires my listeners or gives them something to learn. That's the overall goal, is to A, inspire, and B, just to get, hopefully there's some takeaway through what I say, what my guests say, because a lot of times I'll do a solo podcast where I just rant and ramble, and hopefully it's not the most lowbrow, idiotic content you've ever heard, but perhaps something that you didn't know before, or you're able to gather something and gain a different perspective on the subject that I'm talking about. That's hopefully what the takeaway is for listening to The Tap, and maybe you can grow from there. But for now, that is a very brief brief description, a 15-minute hitter of what the Trial and Error podcast is all about. If you're tuning in after seeing my float at the Youth Day Parade, I just want to thank you all so much for giving it a shot. If it's your cup of tea, take a sip. If it's not, throw it out. Who gives a shit? I love you guys. For all my new sliders coming in, some fresh tastes, some fresh takes. I love it all. Again, thank you for tuning in. And I also wanted to give a shout out to the late Mike Sebastian, who made Youth Day happen and possible for so many years, along with a lot of other people. But he was, dare I say, the tip of the spear that came into getting Youth Day done and keeping it alive for so many people. This tradition of winners that I always loved growing up, and although it's not as people say, it's not what it was, not what it used to be. Well, hopefully this Youth Day is a turn of the tides. Hopefully it becomes what people remember it to be, and it just gets more and more fun, because we don't believe that this tradition of ours can get better. It can be fun. It can just be this just wildly entertaining and excellent event that we can all look forward to every year, similar to the tractor parade. Then it won't. We just got to believe that it can. And if we believe that it can, we start acting on it and make it something that we can all enjoy. That means volunteering. That means putting in some time. Oh, dear God, some volunteer work. Oh. Well, it can get better. And hey, you heard it here first. It can get better. Let's go Youth Day. Let's go Tap. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I love you. And until the next episode with Greg Contreras. Oh, and just as a side note, as I have already packed up my audio equipment and just using my voice recording on my phone, I do have a website. It is called trialandaron.com. Go there to see the treasure trove of podcast episodes I have available, as well as all my scribbles and writing. Yes, I love to write. I aspire to be an author, and I love writing fiction. So if you just go to the Write or Die tab, you'll see some of the short stories that I've written thus far, with more always on the horizon. It's some wacky literature. It's different, and hopefully, at the very least, entertaining. That is all. Bye-bye.
You lose! Good day, sir!